Alright, welcome back everyone, it's your Code King Zaf here, and would you look at that, waiting for us in our lobby, the start to our sister leveling journey. The next hunter to be released is Jinha. Yes, that's right, no more collaboration hunters, at least for now. The next three are probably going to come after her, so I do want to jump in and cover the elemental type she's going to be, and also what hunters you probably want to avoid based on her upcoming release, because, well, when it comes to brand new hunters, as you know, generally they do replace the ones we have right now, so I do want to jump in and cover that. And also some information we have on the brand new PvP mode being added in. In the comments, let me know if you're someone who does like PvP in games like this. When it comes to gacha games, I'm very curious. I know for a fact a lot of you aren't, well, too privy of it. You're not a fan of it, and you do think it's gonna wreck the game. So I do want to jump in and cover that, and I do want to see your opinions down below. It'll help me kind of gauge your interest and see what developers can add in. Based on these suggestions, I can provide in future. Who knows, maybe developers will listen to us, maybe not. Well, let's see what happens there. But let's jump in and cover all the information we have, but also make sure you jump in and support us if you want the latest codes. They are expiring very soon, so jump in, press that button, and you're good to go. You wait a few hours after you support, the link is there. You press the My Page button, boom, that's where the codes will go. You scroll down all the way down to my coupon history, and this where you'll see them. We have 2,000 Essence Zone codes right now, with another 1,500 Essence Zones coming out, and a bunch of other goodies, so jump in, support us that way. You do not miss out on the benefits. And also, speaking of benefits, a big shout out to the Knight Commander. We have Vova, we have Terratooth, and also Patrick, the first commenters on last few videos. Here are your shouts and enjoy those juicy exclusive Discord roles, of course. Now, when it comes to Jinha, I had to find her in our lobby in one of my alt accounts, and I finally located her. It took a while, she was escaping me, but she is going to be a wind support unit. Yes, that's right, not a dark breaker as we were told before. It looks like when it comes to hunters and their future releases, they are always bound to change, but it looks like this time around, this is the official version of her. She's going to be wind, she's going to be a support unit, and she's going to be defense scaling. You know exactly what that means when it comes to our current best wind DPS hunter, that being Leonard Nierman, of course. He's also a wind defense scaler, as you know, so it looks like they're going to work hand in hand together, and it looks like when it comes to our current support Hansame, she might be left in the dust. I'm not too sure. I mean, Hansame is actually not that bad, providing buffs we do want to Leonard Nierman, such as these right here when it comes to elemental weakness damage bonuses, a lot of wind damage bonuses, a lot of basic skill damage bonuses, and other crit rate and crit damage bonuses, including this right here, a defense bonus too, and more elemental weakness damage. So all of this is very good. All of this provides some buffs we do want to Leonard, so I do wonder, Jinha, what could you possibly provide? I'm assuming even more buffs, more damage increases, maybe in defense pen. I'm not too sure what to expect, but I know for a fact the developers are not going to make Jinha a weak hunter. I mean, come on, she's pretty much a manhwa based hunter that's going to have to be strong. At least, of course, when it comes to the support category where she's going to provide us, hopefully, a lot of good buffs. I wonder if she's going to be maybe oriented to the story mode or more guild boss related, because when it comes to Hansame, we're using her, well, less and less, right? She's less of a staple hunter nowadays, I find, especially when it comes to her gems getting more mana consumption reduction, where we don't want too much mana from her anymore, but we'll see what happens. It's all up in the air. Based on the brand new content we get, how good can Jinha really be? I'm assuming she's going to be pretty darn good. But with that said, I do want to jump in and cover the PvP info we just got from our master leaker himself. We have all this information here that's honestly a bit ambiguous, right? I don't know what to expect when it comes to the decks we have. Each player will have a deck of hunters, all the hunters that we own, and we won't be able to obviously use Sung Jinwoo. It'll be a 1v1 mode, and each player can only use 3 cards equal to hunters they'll be used. So 3 hunters in a round. Are we just gonna combat, or is this literally just gonna be like a brand new deck mode? Could you imagine? It could honestly be, right? We have no idea when it comes to developers where they'll give us content that is not idle, or sorry, too soon, right? That's not ideal. So we do have all these pieces of information here. So there will be a type advantage, of course. Elemental weakness will work like this, where the weak side gets 50% less damage and the strong side gets 50% more. That'll be a huge boost, obviously. And of course, we have the elemental weaknesses right here. So light is strong to dark, dark is strong to light, wind is strong against water and weak to fire, water is strong against fire and weak to wind, and fire is strong against wind and weak to water, as we can expect. And the hunters will gain higher mana recovery scaling based on the match time, which is probably good. So I'm assuming because it is a match, we are actually going into facing the enemies 1v1 in a sense, where we do swap out our hunters potentially. I wonder, is it going to be random draw, or do we jump in and pretty much face the enemy's hunters 1v1 and swap around hunters once we lose? So let's say you're against me, you have, for some weird reason, you have Harper, you have Charlotte, and you have Mion on your team, and I use, let's say, Thomas Andre, the Chad himself, Go Yunhee, and I use Shuha, right? So would you ideally, or idly, I gotta stop saying that, would you ideally try to match up your elemental weakness opposite to mine? That way when I jump in, let's say one side chooses first and you play that round, and if you lose or win, they keep that hunter in play, and then you swap in your hunter that does have the type advantage too. I'm not too sure. I don't have too much more information on it. We don't have a demo of it or a gameplay experience to kind of show us what to expect, but I'm assuming that's how it's going to work, where we do kind of like enact it like those Pokemon battles, right? If you've ever played like Pokemon in the past on, let's say, Switch, DS, whatever, you kind of know when it comes to Pokemon PvP, you initially don't know what the enemy is going to put out, and once they do, you can either swap out, adjust, or later on kind of pick the proper Pokemon, or hunter in this case, to combat your enemy. So I think that's how it's going to work potentially. A bit of strategy, a bit of RNG, and a bit of skill, of course, and it looks like you will earn competitive points by winning or losing. Interesting. Now, I know, of course, a lot of you are not a fan of PvP being added into gacha games or games in general, because then it becomes like a whale zone where it's less than casual, right? So I'm kind of curious again in the comment section. Let me know what you think. For me as a content creator, PvP is a very fun game mode, right? Where I can jump in and enjoy. Though, like I mentioned before, when it comes to those game modes, I do want two of them. One where anyone can join and have the same hunters and the same stats and the same advancements as everyone else. And another game mode where it's pretty much like a whale zone. That way everyone does benefit, that way everyone can have fun, and one of them is a pure, basically a display of skill, and the other one is pretty much a pure display of your wallet to see whose wallet is bigger, right? I mean, that's fair, right? You can't really complain in that regard, and when it comes to rewards, I feel like they should only be capped at cosmetics and nothing more. No resources you need to advance in the game. That would make the game mode itself pretty questionable, and more of a cash grab than a, I guess, legitimate feature in the game that's meant to have fun with. I don't know, we'll see what the devs add in. I'm pretty hopeful for it. I'm really hoping they add it in properly and they don't just kill the game with it, right? When it comes to the current collaboration event that we had, honestly speaking, if it wasn't these hunters in question, 5 of them, I feel like the developers actually did a pretty good job when it comes to all the rewards we're getting, all the freebies, and also our banner. Yes, I know, they added in the banner without the option of you carrying over your pity, but do not worry, when it comes to pity, it will carry over afterwards. So once this banner is gone, this is a special banner. Your pity will return, so do not stress out. This is just for this banner because the hunter acquisition rate is much easier, where you only have 2 stars in here. You either get Shuha or Mion based on your picks. So honestly, this is a very, and I mean very, good way to do collabs, and I'm honestly surprised where I do have minimal complaints about it, besides obviously the choice of the collab in question, where it wasn't idle in my case, but in the future, maybe we're gonna get some ideal collabs coming up. But on that note, this is Code King Zap signing out. I'll see you next juicy video, of course, where hopefully we do a review on Jinha in the flesh.